creating space in the downswing, Devan, we see the best players in the world. They tend to have this window of opportunity here between their hands and their body as they come into impact. And they have a lot of room to strike the ball with power and compression.
Absolutely.
The amateur golfer who's struggling with their ball striking tend to stand up.
Yeah.
Bit of goat humping action towards the golf ball there, and the hands are starting to scoop.
Yeah.
You've stuck a pen in the end of your golf club.
We got one.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah. Actually got this from Scottie Scheffler. I know he's done this a lot with his coach, Randy Smith. And so, you know, you can clearly see it with him. He's definitely not pushing towards the target line. He's pushing away from the target line. You can really see how his feet are moving away. And so, you know, he's trying to create as much space as he can at impact. I mean, one of the best ball strikers in the world, almost always number one. And, you know, a lot of that has to do with how well he comes into the ball. So, you know, when you're coming down, as you mentioned, the more that you're pushing towards the target line with your lower body, you see this a lot with the trail leg when it kind of works out a lot and away, you're kind of getting in the way of your arms, right? And so we're not trying to avoid this pen by getting our arms necessarily more out, although there's a couple circumstances where that might be helpful, but we're trying to feel like we're actually going to be kind of sitting back and pushing away from the target, creating that space at kind of this window, as you said. So, you know, your trail arm should have, I would say, a couple inches at the bare minimum between your trail hip, and that's really the kind of the goal here.
Yeah, perfect. So I'm going to grab this training club that we've got set up, and setting up to the golf ball here, if we're going to kind of demonstrate what the player who would be struggling the most with creating space in the downswing, this pen would almost come in and, as you can see, strike the body there. So the feeling that we do want here, Devan, is almost an awareness of the distance of that pen away from the body. And then if I just map out a very slow rehearsal from address to the top, then coming back down into impact, almost feeling like my backside is moving further away from
adding space
that pen.
Yep.
And we can see that the handle is naturally going to rise at the moment of the impact for players. The front arm, as we talked about in the previous video, is going to be slightly above the back arm. And then from there, a natural product is like I'm very rotated, my weight is forward, all that good stuff that players are trying to achieve there.
Absolutely. Kind of like we said before, you know, if you can have one thought or one feel, one drill that fixes 5 or 6 things, that's a go-to drill for you.
Yeah, for sure. Now, as we were talking about just at the beginning of this, it's like we don't want players to swing to the top and go, let's create space between the pen and our body because we're going to hit a few Jose Marias.
Yes.
So how do we do this correctly? What's a feel in terms of pressure, maybe moving into a certain part of the foot, and also where the body should feel? Should feel low, maybe?
Yeah, I think for sure. I think there's a lot of different feels, to be honest. I mean, you can kind of feel like you're closing a desk drawer and then keeping it closed with the trail hip as you come, or the lead hip as you come through. The more that the chest works down, generally the more you're going to push your lower body back and kind of work in unison, because that's how you're going to stay on balance. You can't really have your chest go down and your lower body really extend. That's going to make you fall forward. Yeah. So they can kind of go hand in hand. I think the trail leg's a big deal. I mean, I think one of my favorite kind of feels and drills too is to kind of put like an alignment stick at an angle here and coming down, try to avoid it. So I'm going to almost have to like push away from it. I mean, you see a lot of the top players when they come through, there's not going to be a big gaping hole between their legs coming through. That's going to, you know, indicate that they had some early extension. So, you know, I think for different players, different thoughts work better. But at the end of the day, if you have the pen there and you're creating some space, it means you probably did it pretty well.
Yeah, perfectly. Why don't you jump over here and put that golf club up against my back leg there, and I'm just going to chip a small one down there. We're going to play this in slow-mo for the players. We'll put some videos up of Scottie Scheffler, even Tiger, doing what's called a little bit of a banking of their back leg, and we're actually creating some space, not only with the pen, but also that back leg relative to where this golf club shaft is that Devan's got set out there.
Great.
And we can see that through the golf ball, really.
Love it. And you can see there's very little space here. Thighs are together. Hips back, shoulders down to the right. I mean, all things I look for with my players to make sure that they're coming through the ball correctly with the body.
He's great with compliments. So as you can see, you want to get a pen here, and you can use a very, very long tee if you like, but I do think a pen is almost the perfect size, Devan, really to put it into your hands just to build awareness. Now, obviously don't exaggerate this. Get your arms into a T-Rex position and start swinging around trying to create space. Do your natural setup. We've got this pen as an extension of the golf club. You just get the feeling of what it's like to swing to the top, slowly swing down, and just get to this impact position. We just did another great video on impact alignment. You can almost check that one out and in harmony use this exercise to get a really good feel of what that impact position and creating space would be.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree.
So in terms of a training plan for the players at home, Devan, how many reps would you recommend that they do and how often relative to going out there and just trying to exaggerate the feel without any feedback?
For sure. I mean, feedback is key. I mean, I really don't think any amount of information works without feedback. I mean, we learn everything in life. You touch a hot stove, you don't want to touch it anymore.
Yeah.
It all works that way. So you got to have some sort of way to feel it and know if you did it right or wrong and be able to adjust on the next one. So obviously the tee's great, or the pen. And what I want you to feel is 2 or 3 times before every shot, and just try to feel like whatever space you have it set up, there's more space at impact.
Yeah.
And do that 2 or 3 times and then hit. That's going to be in your short-term memory. You hit enough quality shots, you sleep enough, get some good REM sleep, and it'll consolidate into your long-term memory, and then you won't have to do it as much. But at first, as many rehearsals as you can, and then kind of assess afterwards. Did I hit the pen? Did I not hit the pen? And then adjust from there.
Golf and health advice.
That's right.
Dr. Devan coming to the rescue. All right, so we'll swap over clubs. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to build some awareness now after I've got that feeling of the pen there at address, that certain distance, making sure, as Devan was just saying, I slowly map my way down into impact, getting a rehearsal feel. We see a lot of professional golfers on TV do these slow, intentional rehearsals, which really builds a sensation of what they're trying to achieve. Okay,
Absolutely.
So I got that feel, Devan. Let's see if I can create some space through the ball.
Wow. Drop.
Mate, I think that was the best of today. Ciao.
Thanks for watching this video. YouTube thinks that you would benefit from watching this one next. So click that card and it could be the tip that you need to take your game to the next level. I'll see you next time.